Hey buddy, Crow back again, and this is a video response to Novabug's Friday Foursome that he posted on not the last day in February. He posted on February 28th, and his Friday Foursome question was, what were your most played arcade games? I'm presuming as a kid. And it's a very different question than what are your favorite arcade games, because your favorite arcade games are not necessarily the ones that you may have played a lot growing up. I mean, you're really subjugated to the number of arcades or arcade machines that were available to you at the time, and not everybody had everything. For example, when I grew up, the arcade closest to me was the Aladdin's Castle in the mall that was by our house at the time. And by the time I was in, 8th grade and so on, I had a part-time job, I was earning my own money, and I was going to that arcade. And henceforth, the reason I am wearing this Aladdin's Castle vest. This is the vest that the employees at the Aladdin's Castle, which was the arcade chain that was closest to me at the time. This vest was actually given to me from Sean from All Castle Games, who was previously an Aladdin's Castle employee. He runs All Castle Games, and I think he's working on his own arcade called Castlecade. Sean, if you happen to stumble upon this video, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of piecing things together, but I'll put a link, if I can find it, to the video where I unboxed this stuff. And I had a good reason to wear this vest now. I myself was never an arcade employee, but that's neither here nor there. The question is, what were your most played arcade games at the time? And again, Aladdin's Castle, I was subjugated to the arcade machines they had. So 3 of them on the list are actually from the times I went to Aladdin's Castle as a kid. One of them is not, and I'll explain that one. I'll save that one for last. But without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play these games on this modded arcade 1-up machine, hastily modded, as it were. Just kind of threw a computer in there, and I've got Launchbox and everything. I spent more time working on getting Launchbox to look good than I did worrying about refresh rates and everything. But it works for what it is. It's good to just sit down on this and play an arcade game or so. So I will actually zoom in on this and play 4 of the games that I feel I played the most when I was younger. Let's zoom on in. All right, the first game I have on my list is The Simpsons from Konami. Release date, I don't know, I didn't look this stuff up, but I do remember playing quite a bit of the Simpsons arcade game in the arcade. This machine was there for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, this was before the Turtles. I could be mistaken on that. I just remember the arcade machine being there around the same time as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then Turtles in Time was kind of there to replace the original Turtles. But I would always play The Simpsons over the Turtles. I was a big fan of the show. I always liked the humor in the game. It's just a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and it's fun, especially when you have other people that just kind of come in and join you, and then you could kind of team up together and fight against the enemies with your special attacks, teaming up with one another. There was rarely a time where I would play this by myself. I would jump on a machine either when somebody else is playing, or I would start playing and other people would come in and join in. And there were just times where I would, start playing, and then more people would join in, and we'd have all 4 people just playing through to the end of the game. And I played through to the end of this game multiple times, and I had a blast doing so every time. It's just unfortunately that there were no console versions, ports of the Simpsons arcade game. I know there were a couple of computer releases, but I think licensing prevented this game from actually being ported to a home system. But yeah, I knew for sure I had to put the Simpsons arcade game on this list because I did put quite a bit of time in this. And of course, this was Aladdin's Castle that I'm talking about. So let's move on to game number 2. And my second game here is gonna be Super High Impact. This is a football game, and by football I mean not soccer, but football. Just a little needling there for everybody not in the US, because Novabug, I know you're in the UK. So to you, football is soccer to me, and football to me is American football to you. Did I put this on the list solely to be confusing and annoying? No. I did play this game a lot, and what attracted me to this is just the digitized images of all the characters and the over-the-top violence in the game as well. People get hit hard, bone-crunchy noises, and it's just a funny game to play. You know, I do like... I'm not all into sports or anything, like real-life sports, but I do like playing the occasional sports video game. And this just drew me in, and it was just a ton of fun to play. There's like super exaggerated animations. Players can get hit so hard that all of their padding and clothes just fly off and they wind up laying on the ground in their underwear. Fights between the teams start for no reason, and you just tap the buttons to see who wins. And as far as I can tell, there's no advantage or disadvantage of winning or losing the fights. It's just a really fun game. Now, the additional thing about the version of the game I played in Aladdin's Castle was the fact that every time you scored a touchdown, the arcade machine would dispense a football card, like a Topps, like a baseball card, but for football players. So I would play and earn the cards, and then I found out that, hey, it didn't matter who scored a touchdown, you still get a card. So if you're playing against a computer and the computer scores a touchdown, it still dispenses a card. So I would play a lot. I'd score a touchdown, and then I'd let the computer score a touchdown, and then I'd score a touchdown, and I would just go back and forth like that, trying to get as many cards. And then they ran out of football cards, and then there would be baseball cards in the machine, which was kind of funny. And then it just quit dispensing cards altogether, and then you would just earn credits every time you scored a touchdown, which made playing the game, that's one of the reasons why I played it so much, is that you'd put in one credit and it was, you'd score a touchdown. Oh, you got another credit. Then you get another credit. Then you get another credit, because it would just stop dispensing. And then it was kind of funny. So that's one of the reasons why I played this a lot. But I hadn't played this game in forever, so it was really fun to play this again on this machine here. Yeah, just really fun. I'm not as good as I used to be, but I still had a blast playing it. So let's move on to game number 3. All right, game number 3 is Tetris from Atari. I've got to specify Atari because there's more than one arcade Tetris machine out there, but this one wound up in Aladdin's Castle for some reason quite some time, I think, after the game was initially released. One summer at Aladdin's Castle, they had experimented with, instead of taking game tokens, they were going to allow you to put money on a card that you would then swipe and use credits on the card to play the games. Now, a lot of places like GameWorks and I think Dave & Buster's and like I think Pac-Man Entertainment, which used to be called Level 257, they always had the card system. But this is like way back in the 90s, like early 90s, and it was so unusual. And then what would wind up be, what the translation would be, like every quarter was 5 credits. So basically 1 credit was 5 cents. And the reason I played Tetris so much, especially that one summer, was because it was 3 credits to play Tetris. So basically 15 cents per play. Now, even after they got rid of the card system and went back to tokens, the Tetris machine still hung around and I still played it. But the reason I started playing it was because it was cheaper than all the other games to play. And, one of the reasons why I was going to overlook it was because it's like, well, it's just Tetris. It's the same game I have on my Game Boy. It's the same game that's on my computer. Why would I play this in the arcade? But lo and behold, this is a really good version of Tetris. It starts out like a normal game of Tetris, but then you start getting obstacles in the way. And I think this was one of the very first versions of Tetris to do that. Plus, you could play side by side with another player, which just made it. You weren't fighting with one another like most current versus Tetris games do now, but rather, like where you clear a line, couple lines, and more lines get added to the other screen. No, every level you played simultaneously, and it was just a race to see who could finish it first. And I just really liked that. And what I didn't know until further down the line is that the Tengen Tetris that was briefly on the NES and then it had to be pulled from shelves, is a port of this game in a way, plus added features. So that's why Tengen Tetris is my favorite Tetris version on the NES, and this for sure is my favorite arcade version. I wound up playing this just an awfully lot, and especially once you clear a level when the Russian dancers come out and start dancing, that just adds to it as well. So yeah, I have to put Atari Tetris as one of my most played arcade games, especially when I was a kid back in the early 90s. So let's move on to the fourth and final game on my list. All right, last game on my list is Darkstalkers from Capcom, 1994. I don't know why I spelled all that out. This was originally known as Vampire in Japan, but this is the one game on the list I did not play at Aladdin's Castle. When I joined the military, after I was done with basic training, I got put into technical training, which lasted 9 months. And in the arcade that was on base, Darkstalkers was one of the games that was in their little arcade there. So I would play this, and I was just really liking the fact this was like Street Fighter with like movie monsters in a way. So I played quite a bit of this. I played so much of this, in fact, that it was fairly common for me to play through the game on 1 credit. Now, I said I was in technical school for 9 months, but then it turned out I got stationed at the same base, so I continued to play this game. Now, watching the footage of me playing this now is just terrible because I am nowhere as good. I couldn't even remember Morgan's moves, and I used to play Morgan a lot. And I was like, holy crap, that's not the move. I don't remember how I used to play this game. There's moves that I can't remember in this game now. But still, this game is a blast to play, and I liked all the sequels to the Darkstalkers games. There was Night Warrior and Darkstalkers 3, Vampire Savior, or whatever. But still, I think I played this one way more than the other ones. And yeah, just had a ball with this game. I'm into fighting games. It's just that it's rare for me to find somebody to sit with and play fighting games with these days. But yeah, Darkstalkers, definitely on my list. I did play this quite a bit. So that's it. That's the last game on the list. And that's going to be it for this video. Those are my 4 choices for Novabug's Friday Foursome for arcade games that you played the most. The Simpsons Arcade, Super High Impact, Tetris, and Darkstalkers. I'm going to leave a link to Novabug's video, so check out his video. Either leave a comment of your favorite 4, or even better yet, if you're capable of it, make a video response of your own. I highly encourage making a video response of your own because I'm interested too. And if you leave a comment on his video, I'm not going to see it. But if you leave a video response, odds are I'll see it then when I check out everybody's video responses when he comes back with the next Friday Foursome. So thanks to Novabug and all of you to watching, and I'll see you all next time.